That's different. I really like that. Peychauds or Peychauds or Peychaud.
Yeah, no, I'm gorgeous. Although probably fuzzier was better.
Okay. So this is not what I expected. Hey, it's Thursday. How's it going, everybody? Still trying to figure out this new thing. Oh, there we go. Got it working. Okay, sweet. Hopefully now I'll be able to see comments and stuff. Oh, there we go. We got a couple people. Hey, Larry. Hey, Kevin. How are you? Today we're going to Detroit City. Detroit Rock City. We're gonna go to Motor City and we're gonna find out why in the world I took a picture of this thing on my grill. What is up with that? First of all, I got lazy and I ran out of time. But there is another reason why this iconic photo is going to be the cover photo for this particular thing, and we're gonna get into that now. So Detroit Rock City. Oh wow, we got some people. Tom is with us. Charles, my alcoholic friend, is with us. My fault, totally my fault. Larry, Kevin, drinking the butcher's cut, not the single barrel, but I am in. Okay, awesome, sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay, wow, this is off to a running start. I gotta just take a second, and for those of you who are watching this on YouTube, this one isn't on YouTube yet. I've got to do the stuff, but I mean, all of a sudden I've got subscribers on YouTube. Not a lot. It's getting there, but people are watching it there, and that's cool. This is episode 108. 108 episodes. So, and I've got plans for at least the next 5 as far as what I'm going to be doing. So, but let's not get ahead of ourselves, okay? All right, so this is the home. Detroit is the home of the Detroit City Distillery. And this week's pick, a special liquor cabinet private single barrel pick of their Butcher's Cut Bourbon. Liquor cabinet in Lambertville, Michigan. Why is it called Butcher's Cut? I mean, it doesn't have something to do with meat. Yes, it does. One of the founders of the distillery, John Jerome, had a grandfather who had a slaughterhouse in Detroit's Eastern Market. And that's now where the distillery sits. Ah, there it is. So, just like in the precise and demanding work a butcher puts into his cuts, this craft distillery, goodness gracious, this craft distillery hand smokes their northern Michigan white oak barrels and fills them with a juice made of, 68% corn, 27% rye, and 5% of not just malted barley, but roasted malted barley. Sourced locally in Washita and Kent counties. Now, before we pour this, I want to show you, those of you who are still kind of new and following me again for the first time, some of you know this stuff, some of you don't, so I'm just going to run a quick primer. This is a Glencairn glass. It is a special type of glass that actually got its start with Scotch drinkers. It's designed, I call this part the snoot, or sometimes it can be called the flute. It rhymes, so I call it the snoot. It's funny to say. Snoot. This is tapered up to help concentrate the aromas into the nose. Okay? The next one is the Bourbon Trail glass. This is becoming more and more popular with bourbon, just like bourbon is becoming more and more popular as we go along. This is the actual official glass of the Bourbon Trail, the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. I really like this one. If it's something that I am worried about getting the nose off of, I'll go back to the Glencairn, but a lot of times I like using this glass for my sniffing and my tasting of whiskeys. And then of course you got the rocks glass. This one doesn't have a lot of, benefit when it comes to nosing anything. Because it can't concentrate anything. It has no snoot. As a matter of fact, it's flared outward somewhat. You can still drink just fine. This is great for a cocktail, mixed drink. You can put your bourbon in it if all you want. But if what you want to do is a tasting, then you'll want to find something that helps concentrate the aromas of the bourbon a little higher up. Okay, helps grab it and constrict it just a little bit. We'll get back to this one in a little bit. We're not using this one at all. We're going to stick with this one right here. All right. So This one does carry an age statement. It's aged a mere 2 years and 0 months. And that is all. It is a single barrel proof coming in at 116 proof. This is batch 1, bottle 229. I do have a second one of these. It's bottle 236. So I don't feel bad opening up batch 1 of anything. The distillery puts out this bourbon, also a rye, a whiskey, a vodka, and 2 gin products. They just added a 4-grain bourbon, which I really would like to try. I like 4-grain bourbons. They've added that now to their permanent lineup. And they're known for putting out some limited experimental bottles. Listen to this. They do a honey bourbon, which I would like to try, a summer rum, and believe it or not, a punchki vodka. You know, punchki, like the stuff, the pastries that you eat before Lent. You know, Fat Tuesday, punchkis. Distilled with Polish potato vodka and raspberry punchkis from a bakery in Hamtramck. No kidding. The one they released in February 2021 sold out in 22 minutes. I just don't know. I just don't know. Not a lot else to say about Detroit City Butcher's Cut bourbon. By the way, his grandfather who had the butchery, he actually lost a finger. So, hope that didn't go into somebody's hamburger. All right. Okay. Ooh, just that little bit on my fender. On my phalange. Just barely a drop. There's flavor there. Okay. All right, let's give it a little air. That's a pretty big pour too. I may added water to this one as well. All right. Let's nose it. First impression is it's got a mustiness to it. But the caramels are leaping out at me. Boing, boing. It's just, yeah. And honey. I'm glad I used this glass and not the Glencairn. The Glencairn may have overwhelmed me just a little bit. The nose on this is something. I've gotten past the mustiness. Now that it's given me a little more air, it's a sweet caramel. Very sweet caramel. Kevin, I don't know if you're getting the same thing. You've got the Butcher's Cut, but it's not the single barrel. It's going to be different. I'd be curious as to your impression of your expression. Okay. Wordplay! Okay. Gosh, there's something else in there too. Butterscotch, maybe? I think that sounds accurate. Butterscotch. Not catching vanilla so much. There's some cinnamon on it. Still got that mustiness to it. It's just very sedate, but it's there. All right, here we go. That does not drink like 116 proof. Maybe 105. Very sedate on the palate. The bloom is small. There's very little burn. Now you'd think that I'd be more sensitive to it tonight because I made dinner a little while ago and I put in a jalapeno and some cayenne pepper. The meal wasn't particularly hot, but normally after I have any kind of a spicy meal whatsoever, a bold, high-proof bourbon will feel like torture. It'll burn my tongue. This time it did not. But I will tell you that the palate resembles the nose. It's not betraying anything different from the nose to the palate. The same kind of strange, pasty, musty flavor I got on the nose, I'm getting on the palate as well. But let's give it another take and see if I can pull some more out of it. On the palate, I'm getting a little bit of a citrus. Just a little. The butterscotch, the honey, a little bit of cinnamon, pepper. The pepper's really small. I would be curious as to what would happen if they would age this longer than 2 years. Age statement is on the bottle. It's 2 years. That's all. And there are distilleries that age for a lot less time. One of those is in Ohio. The Ernest, shoot. I can't think of the name of it. I see it. Can you see it? I can't. Scarillo, something like that, distillery up in Elmore. They've got ryes that they distill for like 9 months. Another one for a little bit longer than that. And they've just come out with them again. Scarillo. Yours is 100 proof. Oaky, honey, very light cinnamon. I'm not getting the oak off of this. And maybe, is yours a 2 year, Kevin? Because mine is not a 2 or mine is a 2 year. And I will tell you that somebody else did a review on this, and I was watching their review, and they were saying that that they were a little bit disappointed that they didn't get some of that roasted barley. Now maybe that's what I'm getting. Maybe that strange, musty taste, that pastiness to it. Maybe that's that roasted malted barley. Cody's watching. Hey, yours is a 2 year as well. Okay, all right. See, I'm getting your comments this week. I didn't get them last week. I'm getting them this week. All right. So, I don't know. Maybe I don't know necessarily the effect of barley. I've never had, I don't think, any whiskey that didn't have some barley in it. So, I cannot tell you by picking out the flavors of barley itself. Just like it's tough to pick out how much corn and how much rye is in a mash bill. Now, rye is easier to tell. You get rye on a mash bill, you kind of know it. And the mash bill on this one, that rye is 27%, so it is a high rye. That would explain some of those cereal notes that I'm getting. Some of that pasty, that musty, that's got to be that high rye. And 27%, that's a high rye. And you can get away with aging a rye a little less. Let's try one more time. Kevin's drinking alongside. His is a little bit different. His is the Butcher's blend. Butcher's cut. But his is not the single barrel. This is a single. Those rye notes are what I was picking up. It's almost like it's an Alberta rye. I tend to, if I had to put them side by side, I tend to like the Indiana rye better than Alberta rye. If I had to guess, this is an Alberta rye. It's Detroit. Alberta's closer, probably easier. I think it's probably an Alberta winter rye. That's just my hunch. Although I don't know that for a fact, but it's just a hunch. Just by the way that rye tastes in there, it reminds me of the Alberta Premium, which is another one I like but don't love. This one, I like it, but I don't love it. Let's see how it does with the gauntlet. Put it on some water. Wait till you see what we're doing next week. This comes as a request. This is one that somebody has requested. I happen to have this, so this is coming up. Boop. That's right, I booped it. Saw some meme online the other day where it was a dog's nose, and it was like, go ahead, you know you want to boop it. I just booped my bourbon. Snorted. I went to a local club, social club, and there was a woman in there who snorts when she laughs. And I don't know if she wanted people to call attention to it or if it's just a thing, but the more she laughed, the more she snorted. I don't mind it. I think it's kind of cute, as long as it's not overdone, over and over and over again. She didn't. All right. Now, if a dude does it, I might raise an eyebrow, or maybe the other eyebrow, maybe both. Maybe neither. All right. So, a little Detroit City bourbon cut on water. On the nose, it brought out a little bit more of perhaps cloves. Cloves. Yep. And that might have been a little bit of what I was getting before and couldn't identify. The water has opened it up just enough to give me that on the nose. Let's try it. A milliliter of water opened that up nicely. Really subdued that rye pasty mustiness and brought out some more flavors. There's definitely some citrus on it now. That honey just popped. I'm starting to get a little bit of vanilla. Butterscotch. Graham crackers. That whole area of flavor, that honeyness, that, you know, graham crackers got honey in it, and especially if it's honey grahams. Gingerbread, that type of thing. Although I wouldn't say I get ginger out of this, but it's that honey and that cinnamon and that graham crackeriness that I'm getting out of it. So far, I like the expression on water more than neat. Again, that's maybe a 25%, 30% of the time that I like it better with water, but you like yours better on water too, Kevin. All right, so it's not just me. It brought out some more flavor. It opened it up for sure. It seemed a little tight. It also improved the mouthfeel. The mouthfeel got a lot more buttery, a little more silky. That was the first thing that I noticed, and that's why you saw me change my expression, because it just felt good in my mouth. So I'm going to do that one again. As a matter of fact, a little bit of that saltiness comes back out, and I say it has a buttery mouthfeel. I'm actually getting a little butter. I like it when I taste butter in my bourbon. I don't like butter in my coffee. I tried it. So there for a very, very short time, I was a co-owner of a coffee company, and they were experimenting with all sorts of different flavors, and the more they did that, the more I found myself gravitating just back to black. I like black coffee. Well, then the straw that broke the camel's back was when they were trying to make a pumpkin pie latte, and they used actual pumpkin pie mix of some sort from the grocery store, or pumpkin like out of the can, or it was horrid. Horrid. It was abysmal. It was vile. It has kicked me off of anything flavored. I mean, I used to like hazelnut coffee. I used to like French vanilla coffee. I used to like, there's another one. I didn't have it very much, but I liked some flavored coffees. Now I'm done. I don't like lattes. I don't like iced coffee. I don't like cream in my coffee. Since I don't like cream in my coffee, I wanted to try something, so I put butter in it. Vile. No. Black coffee or nothing. So, I don't know why I went off on that rant. But with this, I like a little bit of water in that. That's good. All right. Okay. Now, let's get out that rocks glass that I promised to use, along with a elegant ice sphere.
Elegant, you look so elegant. You are an elegant ice sphere. Yeah.
Sorry, Joe. Joe's watching and he comes on and I'm being weird. I'm not even drunk. Yet. All right. So we did it neat. It was okay. Added some water to it. It really opened it up, made it buttery, silky, much better. Brought out some citrus. The butterscotches came out a little bit more. The clove, the cinnamon. I mean, this is nicer on water. So let's get it cooled down. We have new people, so now I have to behave myself, not act silly. Those of you that are family, we know each other, and you know family. There's that strange uncle that does strange things. I'm not talking about that uncle. I'm talking about this uncle. Come on. I don't know if that's enough, but we'll try it. Joe, welcome to the show. I don't know if I've seen you pop up before, but I'm glad you're here. Thank you. If you like it, share it, tell people. If you don't like it, don't tell anybody you don't like it, because that'll hurt my ego. It'll bruise me terribly. Okay. All right. So this is Detroit City Butcher's Cut Bourbon on ice. That melted significantly. The nose is gone, which you might expect when you put it on ice. I don't know if I'm getting anything different on ice. It's just basically this. It's somewhere between neat and water cooled down. There's still some flavor there. It still doesn't drink like 116 proof. I wouldn't say that it added anything. I don't think it took anything away. Melting that ice cube a little bit before I got started on it did give it some more of that viscosity, some more of that silkiness, that butteriness. So if you're one of those guys that likes to add in like a dozen ice cubes, therefore giving the drink much more surface area to melt, an ice sphere like this has much less surface area than a whole bunch of cubes, so it's going to melt slower. And the clear ice melts slower than, say, dirty ice. Just a little, though. I mean, it's not significant, but it's enough. It's enough to be able to brag on it. This I let sit a little bit, and I swirled some. But I'll just get it a little bit colder. Mute those flavors just a little bit more. You add it on ice, you're going to mute the flavors. I say this almost every week. But for those of you who are new to the program and haven't experienced the difference between neat water and ice down whiskey, you'll wonder why, well, I like my whiskey with ice. Well, you may not like it neat. It may be too harsh neat. That's because you're muting the flavors, muting the ethanols when you put it on ice. You'll get a lot more flavor out of it if you drink it neat and then add a little water to it. In some cases, not all. Some you add water to it, but some you add water to it, and like this one, and it opens it up. You'll be able to taste more. It'll change the mouthfeel. Water can do a lot, and it doesn't take much. I add this is like a squeezy thing, eyedropper. Before somebody thinks that I'm linguistically challenged, an eyedropper with about 1 milliliter of water in it. So it's enough. I wouldn't want to. Some people like to, if they have one of those that has a cap, they'll unscrew the cap, or if they have like a bottle of water, they'll unscrew the cap on the bottle of the water, put a little bit of water in the cap, and put that in. That's a great way to start. That bottled water is always distilled, or, filtered, or reverse osmosis, or whatever gimmick, limestone water, whatever. But it's always clean water. It's not going to have a lot of flavor. Now, some do, like Dasani, you can taste that. Something about Dasani, you can taste Dasani. So other waters, you can just pour it in the cap, toss it in there and it may be enough. And if it isn't enough, you can do it again. That's fine. All right, so Kevin's talking. Ice brought out some clove, hard as heck. But water's my choice on this, which I only remember saying that one other time. Yeah. You and I are very similar with our tastes as far as what we like, how we like our whiskey. Now, as far as what we like about whiskey and the whiskeys that we like, we are a little different. I tend to like more than you do. Your taste tends to be a little bit more narrow and discerning. I tend to like almost everything. This one, I don't like it. It's okay. It's better on water, and it's okay on ice. Hey, Lester's watching. Hey, Lester, you're just coming in at the end. But that's okay. That's okay. That's what reruns are for. Go back and watch it and take a look and, of course, share it. I got to start remembering to say, like and share and hit the bell, because that's a YouTube thing. I'm YouTube stupid. I don't use YouTube very often. Only when, like, I'm working on something and need to know how to do that. I really don't go there. I don't use it for my entertainment, for instance. So I know there's a lot for me to learn, and I know that it's a different beast, but so far people are watching. I dig it. It's fun. It's fun that they're watching. Okay, so the verdict is water for this one. Doesn't take a lot. Ice isn't going to kill it. Although, the colder it gets and the more you dilute, the more you do kill it. There's still flavor there, just not as much. And those rye notes come back out the more you cool it down, and the more diluted it gets, because the ice sphere or ice cubes, whatever you're using, melt. 2 weeks ago, I did a Bourbcast upstairs, and Dawn was with me. And I was doing a high-speed scrub of it, and it was amazing. Scrubbing is when you go through your footage fast. And I was amazed at maybe I'll post a time lapse or something, but wait till you see how fast the ice cubes melted in the glass. Crazy. Just by a high-speed scrub, I could see the melt. It was nuts. I was like, whoa! No, really, I was like, whoa. I said, whoa. So, all right. So that is Detroit City. It's okay. It's all right. I'm not in love with it. It's not a bottle that I'm going to want to have often. For 116 proof, it didn't drink like 116 proof. I would have liked it to have been a little spicier. The rye notes are really heavy on this. The clove definitely pops on it. It's okay. It's all right. Definitely not in my top 100. Not in my top 50. Well, I guess if it's not my top 100, it wouldn't be in the top 50. It's okay. Eventually this will find a home in my belly. Being 116 proof, I would normally say that this would be great in cocktails, but because it doesn't drink like 116 proof, it may not stand out against some of those other flavors. If you're going to do a high rye cocktail, like an old fashioned or some, sorry, they're escaping me, but if you're going to do like a high rye cocktail, you might try this one, because the ryes in this one do stand out to me. All right, so moving on. Next week, now this is one that was requested, and I happen to have a bottle of it, and I've been wanting to try it, and I've heard nothing but good things. We're going to go, speaking of uncles, we're going to go visit Uncle Remus. George Remus. This is what they call a Prohibition whiskey. George Remus, king of the bootleggers. Straight bourbon whiskey. This one is even hotter than tonight's. This one is 122.5 proof. It says, from apothecary to kingpin, George Remus created one of the most intricate, goodness gracious, the typing is so small, intricate, successful bootlegging operation of Prohibition, with each single barrel holding its unique flavor secrets. Gimmick. George Remus Bourbon captures the rebellious natures of the Prohibition era. Rebellious flavors of the Prohibition era. Perfect for the speakeasy or liquor cabinet. Well, this kind of looks a little bit like a speakeasy, and it has been in my liquor cabinet, but next week we're going to put it in my belly. So we're going to give that a try. Daniel, hey Daniel, we're just at the end, buddy. Just at the end. We tried the Detroit City Butcher's Cut Bourbon. So go back and watch that so you can see whether or not it's one you might want to buy. I have 2 bottles of this, and those, quite frankly, honestly, will probably be the only 2 bottles I ever own. This is a single barrel. Kevin had the 100 proof regular Butcher's Cut. I don't love it. It's okay. I won't not drink it. It's okay. But it's going to sit there probably next to the Alberta Rye, which is slowly... When I want a hot drink, I drink the Alberta Rye. When, oh, this one isn't doing it for me. This one isn't doing it for me. Then I'll get out that Alberta Rye, and as much as I don't enjoy the flavor, I do enjoy the impact. I like that burn sometimes, and the Alberta Premium has that burn. This has the same flavor to me in some ways as the Alberta Premium. It doesn't have the burn, even at 116 proof. It just doesn't do it. So we're going to try the George Remus, Uncle Remus, next week at 122 proof, and I'll have all the information on it. So come back and take a look, and hopefully you'll have a bottle of this that you can join with me. Denny up in Cleveland, who I had the Boone County pot still with a while ago up in his studio in Cleveland. He's the one that suggested the George Remus, so for him, we're going to do this one, all right? We will see you next week. I do appreciate you coming each and every week. We're still on Instagram at Beautiful Bourbon. We got the blog at beautifulbourbon.com. We're on YouTube now, and I'm keeping that one updated, believe it or not. I threw up a bunch of videos yesterday and today just to keep it updated. I think I had 7 or 8 videos that I had to add. And the George Dickel one, I ended up going with a lot of still frames because that was just a terrible broadcast. The video cut out terribly. It was awful. But since then, I've been recording it on the camera as well, so that won't happen again. I'll end up putting up a version that actually looks good. So that one, maybe ignore. But the rest of them look pretty decent, and I do encourage you to go check that out and spread the word. So, again, we will see you next Thursday with George Remus, the king of the bootleggers, right here on Beautiful Bourbon. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it.